And I believe that we do have our expert with us. Anmar Mirza is a coordinator of the National Cave Rescue Commission. He has more than 30 years of experience in cave rescues, and he's joining us from Bloomington, Indiana. Thank you so much, Anmar, for coming on with us. This is just an incredible rescue story, but clearly it's not over yet because the boys aren't out. You said this is one of the most difficult rescues that you've come across thus far. Explain what the rescuers are going to have to do now to get these boys out.
Well, of course, initially we were looking at three primary options of getting them out. The diving option, which has been discussed, the waiting for the water to go down for a lull in the rain to allow them to pump it down enough for them to get out on their own. And then there was the potential for putting another entrance in, either by drilling or by finding and exploiting a natural entrance. It looks like that last option is becoming less and less of an option, and they're focusing more on the first two. So at this point, it's really up to what the weather does to see what the best option is going to be.
Anmar, when we talk about this dive, I think for folks who don't know, it is a treacherous dive even for seasoned divers, is it not?
Absolutely. Cave divers, people who specialize in diving in enclosed and overhead environments, train for hundreds and hundreds of hours to be able to do it. It's a very easy thing to start to do. The problem is that it's a very difficult thing to plan for and be ready for all the contingencies. And the problem becomes is that the contingencies are what could potentially be fatal. Panicking, losing your mask, having an issue with the equipment in an environment where you're enclosed is incredibly dangerous.
So you're talking about training potentially a dozen kids here to dive their way out of this cave. How challenging is that? How long would that take?
Well, that's going to depend on the exigencies of the moment. If they have the time, then they can take as much time as they need until the people who are training them feel that they are ready. If the flooding situation worsens to the point where they decide that they need to try to do something, then they're going to have to weigh the risk versus the potential benefit there. And regardless of which option is used, whether it's the diving or waiting for the water to go down, there are risks involved. So there are no good choices.
Talk about the risks of keeping the boys there for potentially 4 more months, as the regional governor suggested they may have to do.
The primary risk is the risk of enough rain or a failure of the pumping system enough to allow the area that they're in, which is currently safe, to become flooded and for them not to have a safe zone in the cave. That's the biggest immediate risk. The other long-term risks, of course, are the issues that they may have medical issues, they may have psychological issues. Those are more manageable, and they don't affect the group as a whole in general.
And at least they'll be getting food and medical supplies as well. From the pictures we've seen, they appear to be in good spirits, so that is important. Anmar Mirza, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.